Yeah, you're right on that edge. She's an attorney too, or? Law school. Not much else to do with law school. I'm a lawyer too, I get you.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
What kind of law do you practice?
Do family.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah, I love it though, yeah.
Yeah, I've only ever done criminal. So he did family for 3 years. When
Yeah.
He was a Fox Rothschild.
Yeah.
It's tough. Yeah.
One guy's coming to me.
I guess it's a Zoom. I mean, I guess if you wanted to.
I'm sure the whole township is tuning.
Oh,
There,
yeah.
I forget. It's still like YouTube or something.
It's what?
YouTube, there is
Let's call the meeting to order, everyone. The Pledge Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the first item for tonight is a swearing-in ceremony for our new auditor, Phil Donahue.
I, Phil Donahue,
I, Phil Donahue,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution and the laws of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution and the laws of this Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge the duties
and I will discharge the duties
of Township Auditor
of Township Auditor
in Tredyffrin Township, Chester County,
in Tredyffrin Township, Chester County,
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yep.
The presentation scheduled to present the check for the grant that we received has been delayed until the next supervisor meeting because of the weather. The board met in executive session to discuss legal and real estate matters. The meeting was held on Thursday, January 11th at 7 p.m. at the Tredyffrin Township building for an update on the Krabby Creek Stormwater Project. There will be a meeting on Tuesday, January 23rd at 7 p.m. at the Tredyffrin Township building for an update on the Bear Road Stormwater Project. There will be a meeting on Tuesday, January 30th at 7 p.m. at the Tredyffrin Township building for an update on the Glen Hardy Road Bridge Replacement Project. PennDOT invites the public to attend a live virtual public meeting on Wednesday, January 17th at 7 p.m. for the upcoming Phase 2 of the project to construct a new bridge to carry the relocated North Valley Road over Amtrak in Tredyffrin Township. Participants can access this meeting by clicking on the Microsoft team links that is on the agenda to this meeting. In observance of President's Day, the township offices will be closed Monday, February 19th. Now for the approval of the minutes.
So moved.
I need a motion to approve the minutes from December 8th, 2023.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Any public discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
A motion to approve the minutes of the January 2nd, 2024 organizational meeting.
So moved.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Any comments? In the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Township business. I need the supervisor liaison reports. Supervisor Humble?
Yes, the Parks and Recreation Board was scheduled to meet this past January 10th. However, we did not have a quorum, so we could not conduct the meeting. I do want to give an update, though, on the deer management reports because there's been several inquiries about that. 80 deer were taken last year in 2023. We can't make the deer be where the hunters are. We know there are more deer in there, but information we got was that there are illegal hunters or trespassers are driving the deer in from the Krabby Creek Field of Dreams area. So that's one thing that's creating the homes around that area having more deer. Additionally, as goes the TE School District, today the school district did not hold classes in person, but went to the hybrid schedule where everybody was, there's a 2-hour delay and then everybody was online. Tomorrow there will be another 2-hour delay with school starting because of the weather. Additionally, the school district is exploring the location at Sweetsford and Cassatt Road as a possibility for a new elementary school. As everybody may recall, in the past, the 2 locations that had been considered were the one in Easttown, close to the Easttown Library. Sorry, I'm getting all the feedback. And the other one was on Jefferson Road in Chesterbrook. But this is a new location, it's a bigger location, and so there will be opportunity for township residents to weigh in and listen to possible plans for that. So the next scheduled meeting for Parks and Recreation Board is Wednesday, February 14th at 7 p.m. Given that that is Valentine's Day, I hope we have enough people to make a quorum so we can have our meeting since we missed our January one. Thank you.
Due to the severe weather on Tuesday, January 9th, the Municipal Authority organizational meeting has been rescheduled for Tuesday, January 23rd at 7:30 at the Township Building. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Miller. The Traffic Committee met on December 20th at 7:30 a.m. There were a number of smaller items that were briefly discussed and closed, and I won't go into the details here. If anyone is interested, please contact me. But there was significant discussion about 2 related items: a request for speed bumps on East Circular Avenue in Paoli, and for traffic control at the intersection of Circular Avenue and South Valley Road, also in Paoli, and especially with crashes caused by drivers speeding down South Valley Road from the intersection with Lancaster Avenue. So residents and the township have been in contact with PennDOT, and their position is that since they recently reduced the speed limit and there's been additional signage on Circular Avenue, they would like to see the results of those, wait and see before taking any further action. The next meeting of the Traffic Committee is scheduled for Wednesday, March 20th at 7:30 a.m. Thank you.
I don't have a report, but I will have one for next month for the zoning board.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
2024 bond update. Mr. DeRocco.
Thank you, Chairman Miller. Last week, the township sold our 2024 bonds. Just a refresher on this, we went through quite a process and discussions late in 2023, and during that that process, we elected to give ourselves a little bit of flexibility on when we're actually going to sell the bonds. So last week, Stiefel marketed the bonds and then sold them Monday. Per Stiefel, we knew that there was going to be quite a bit of supply nationwide for municipal bonds in January. They estimated about $10 billion worth of bonds being sold. Our AAA rating was received very well. Our long maturities projected, Stiefel had projected to sell them at 4.37% interest rate. They came in at 4.14, which saves us debt service, which also helps the bottom line there. The debt service overall for the bonds was less than we had expected as well. We were the only PA issuer in the market last Monday. Our all-in bond cost is essentially 4%. Our net arbitrage rate is 3.97, and what that means is when we actually close on the bonds next month and we receive the money, we're allowed to essentially earn 3.97% on that money. So again, with receiving the grant award of $2.2 million for stormwater, that'll definitely help with this bond. We'll be able to move some more money around, get a couple more projects around, but it'll also shift when we expect to start using this money in the short term. And so we'll be able to earn a little bit money to offset some of our costs there. Overall, we're pleased with the bond sale. We'll net $9.7 million of this, and so we look forward to getting all the projects done and moving the township forward. Happy to answer any other questions the board might have.
No, thank you, Joe. We go move on to item D, motion to adopt resolution 2024-08, approving the 2024 towing provider certifications. Chief Beatty.
Thank you, Chairman Miller. Before the board is a resolution required last year in December, the board approved the township towing and storage ordinance updates as requested, or as indicated in that ordinance. Providers were sent their quotes in. They were organized, and before the board, we're asking for a resolution to approve those certified results to identify the towers for 2024.
Thank you, Chief Beatty. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Any board comment? Any citizen comment? There's a roll call vote. Supervisor Humble?
Aye.
Supervisor Holt?
Aye.
Supervisor Gussie?
Aye.
Supervisor Bhaskar?
Aye.
Supervisor Carlotta Johnson?
Aye.
And I vote aye. The motion carries. Item E, motion to authorize the engineering department to advertise and receive bids for the Krabby Creek Stormwater Infiltration and Improvement Project and the Warner Spur Emergency Bridge Repair Project. Mr. Burgo.
This evening, the Township Engineering Department is requesting from the board authorization to advertise and receive bids for the two Engineering Department capital improvement projects. As stated, the Krabby Creek Stormwater Retrofit Project and the Warner Spur Bridge Flood Damage Repair Project. Both of those projects are listed and are included in the 2024 capital budget that was approved by the board. The Krabby Creek Stormwater Project will have 4 different locations where there's stormwater infiltration facilities proposed on various township roads. We've been working with the Valley Creek Restoration Partnership on that project. They have a series of grants that they've been awarded. They have applied for some additional grant money. They're waiting any day for a decision from the state on some more money, and they're still looking for additional grants. But that project is finished design, and we're looking to go out to construction later this spring with that project. So we would like to advertise for a contractor. The Warner Spur project, this is a flood damage repair. As everybody knows, this was damaged during the tropical storm Hurricane Ida. We have a substantial hole in the arch of that structure because of the floodwaters and the damage it caused, and we've been working with FEMA for the last 2 years now. Year and a half. We had some wetlands, we had some bog turtle clearances, we had a bunch of environmental things that we had to go through before we could move forward with the project. They have all been cleared. We've got our DEP permit 2 days before the holidays, so we're good to move that project forward as well. We did also receive almost $300,000 in FEMA disaster recovery money for that bridge repair as well. But both of these are included, as we said, in the capital budget for 2024, and we're just asking the board authorization to advertise and receive bids, and we'll be back with the results of those bids later this spring.
Thank you, Mr. Burgo. Any comments or questions? Do I need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any public comment? Any board comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. Motion to approve the settlement agreement and mutual release between CMSE Inc. and Tredyffrin Township. We don't have Mr. McKenna, so go ahead.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. I am prepared to advise the board on the proposed settlement agreement and mutual release between the Township and CMSE Incorporated. By way of brief review, the Township the board may recall that there was a significant project involving the renovation of the Public Works building. CMSE was one of the subcontractors, an electrical subcontractor involved in that project. A payment dispute arose between CMSE and the Township regarding some change orders. During the course of negotiations back and forth, the settlement agreement and mutual release was eventually come to between the parties in order to resolve the dispute about the outstanding payment. So this settlement agreement and mutual release would entirely wrap up that dispute, close it out, and we could move on. Yes?
So moved. Second.
Any comments from the board or questions?
Aye.
Motion to authorize a joint purchase with Easttown Township of fire engine to be subsequently leased to the Berwyn Fire Company. Mr. DeRocco.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Tonight, we're looking for authorization to purchase the fire truck, an E1 Typhoon EMAX rescue pumper that we will subsequently lease to Berwyn. Our share is $439,022.50, which represents 70% of the cost of the engine. The budget this year for this is $479,500. We do anticipate some additional expenses for equipment and other things, but we don't have those at this point. The truck will be titled in Tredyffrin's name at this point, and we'll be working on an agreement with Easttown and Berwyn subsequently that we'll bring back to the board. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any board comments? Any citizen comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Motion to authorize advertisement of a public hearing on February 20th for ordinance HR 480 and ordinance implementing the Act 57 of 2022 to provide certain property tax penalty waivers. Mr. DeRocco.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This was something that was brought to our attention, I believe, late in 2022 or early in 2023. We just honestly missed it. And so we are proposing an ordinance change due to the fact that essentially that's how our charter reflects changes to anything tax related. Needs to be done via ordinance. And so we've worked with both the Solicitor's Office and Portnoy, who does our delinquent collections on this ordinance. And so it makes us compliant with the act. So happy to answer any questions.
If I may, just a quick follow-up on this item. The state requires now the municipalities to provide this tax penalty waiver. So that is, the primary driver behind bringing it to the board is that it's required by the state now.
And just to clarify, if I understand correctly, Mr. Duraco, what we're waiving or potentially waiving is if someone were to buy a house, just use that example, they buy a house, they don't receive the tax bill for some reason, I don't know what, usually it's handled in the settlement, but for some reason they don't get it, they still have to pay the tax, they just don't have to pay the penalty for that first tax bill that somehow they missed in the moving process. Is that what we're talking about?
Correct.
All right, thank you.
So moved.
Second. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Is this a roll call?
No. No, it's not a roll call vote. Is that correct? Did I get it right?
Yeah, you're just authorizing the public hearing.
Yeah, okay. I'm just authorizing the hearing, yeah. Thank you. But thank you, though. Motion to approve Second Amendment to Collection System Upgrades Construction Agreement and Bill of Sale and Assignment for Church Road Pump Station Upgrades between the Township and RLD Atwater JV LLC.
Mr. Chairman, I'm actually going to ask that the board table this at this point. As part of our last preparations, I was reviewing, as I would with any other development, land development process or agreement, I make sure that they don't have any outstanding reimbursable engineering and legal fees. Unfortunately, this developer does, and they're quite significant, and so we're working with the solicitor and their lawyers to try to work this out. And so we're requesting that this be tabled at this point.
Is there anything we have to do or just table it? No, nothing, it's tabled, it's good. Thank you. Motion to authorize Historical Commission application for a CLG grant to revise the existing historic preservation ordinance. I'm going to ask Historic Commission Chair Rob Williams to comment on this.
Thank you. Oh, very good. Thank you, Mr. Burton. The COG grants are only available to 50 municipalities in Pennsylvania. Tredyffrin is one of those. The reason we need it now is to bring on a historic preservation consultant who will help us with the beginning process of looking at and revising our historic preservation overlay district ordinance. The State Historic Preservation Office advised that we should get a consultant rather than doing it ourselves because there are lots of nuances in this particular part of Pennsylvania law. Also, there's many opportunities for incentives that the consultant would know about. This is the third CLG grant that we'll be seeking. The first two were very successful bringing in, this would be our third in 4 years. And basically our move to update the ordinance. This also relates to our comprehensive plan under the Chapter 3, Historic Preservation. The first three steps are update the preservation plan from 2009. We successfully did that last year. Update the ordinance and update our survey of properties. And again, the state advised that we should do the ordinance first and then work on updating our survey list later. I want to assure everyone here that the commission will work very closely in particular, Mr. Martin, Mr. Duraco, Ms. McPherson, that we're going to work very closely with township staff because this particular ordinance is going to, tie into zoning, tie into land development, potentially. So just everybody know that we'll do our very best to work with the teams. And then lastly, this past year, 2023, we did lose 2 buildings due to demolition that were both eligible for nomination on the National Register of Historic Places. So there's an urgency to making sure we understand what our properties are, how best to protect them, how to incentivize owners to protect them as well. So with that, I look forward to your approval.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
Any board comment or questions?
Yes, I had a question for Mr. Williams. If you could just state for the public what the 2 buildings lost were, that would be appreciated.
Sure. On West Swedesford Road, in March, there was a 1870s manor house that was taken down on property. Again, everything was by the book and properly done. And then most recently, we had the barn down in Chesterbrook on Chase Road was taken down again, completely within our current rules. And but it's a shame to lose these key properties, especially ones that are visible to the public from the roads. Thank you.
I agree, thank you.
I had a quick question for you, Rob. So how much, do you anticipate there to be a significant amount of public outreach? I think there is a need to make sure that the public really has a lot of opportunity to provide input here.
Yeah, so I think we are, to supplement what we're doing with the very formal ordinance work, our commission is now planning how to do that outreach. We've already started with township walks, so neighbors know what buildings are in their communities. We get a sense of interest from the public, and there'll be more meetings. I think 2 tiers is the way I envision it. One, what history and heritage do we want to commemorate and retain? And then more specifically, when we get into the details of the ordinance, we'll be having public hearings on the specifics of the incentives and protections that would be expected. Thank you.
And what about reaching out to the property owners? I know that's something that we had discussed in our working group, I don't know what it was called, last month.
Back in November. Yeah, so individual properties that would be identified in this overlay district, there'll be 2 parts, I guess I'll say. One, we need the general outreach to the public in general for all residents. But then when there's a specific ordinance that identifies properties that would be included in the overlay, as per any type of ordinance like this, the property owners would be notified, and there'd be hearing. It would go first through the Planning Commission, and then I'm not sure exactly how the rest of the process will go, which is why I need to learn more. But there will be hearings. Did I answer your question? Thank you.
So we're going to have to work on what the process is to make sure there's a pretty extensive outreach and people understand what's going on.
I do have one question. Do you have an idea of how many properties are in Tredyffrin that may be possibly going to National Historic Preservation? Do you have an idea?
So currently, we have 34 properties that are either listed on the national federal level or are considered eligible, which is a determination by the state. So already we have 34. Most of those were done back in the 70s and 80s when they became listed. And the only one that was most recently listed was the Mount Zion AME Church in 2015.
Thank you.
I do have one unrelated comment, not related to historic preservation, but regarding the property that was torn down on West Swedesford Road. And unfortunately, our woodland conservation ordinance went in too late to save all the trees that were torn down as well with the house.
There is very much, which is why we need the support of the consultant. There are ties for preservation, for conservation. There's ties into some of the stormwater, floodwater. There's lots of ties that we should be making. So I think if properly done and well thought out and well developed with a broad audience and supervisor and staff support, yeah, we'll be tying into several areas like that.
And also hopefully at some point, we will try and find some way of identifying historic trees in the township as well, because they're also part of our heritage.
I know we've had initial discussions with the EAC on that topic. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other board comment?
I just want to thank Mr. Williams for bringing this grant to the board's attention, his advocacy in that regard. And I know there's a lot of work in the background that goes on in talking with and learning about what opportunities exist out there, and that this is a really good first step, because it is going to be a long road, winding road, to get to a completed ordinance. But this is a very nice way to get the process moving. So thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Holt. I concur. Any citizen comment? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Well, thank you, Murph. Supervisor Wysocki gets full credit. He voted.
I got long.
He got in the last one. All right.
It was a long winding road for me to get connected, but it was okay.
I had one just to let everyone know that you remember we wrote a grant a while ago for a bike park? So we were granted $112,000, just so people know that. I think it's exciting, and I can tell you my phone was blowing up earlier today from the bike park people. Any citizen new matters? Hearing none, do I hear a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
So moved.
Aye?
Second.
All right.
Aye.
Aye. Thanks.